Eddie, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. First of all, congratulations. What a performance, and the chemistry between you and Jessica was absolutely phenomenal. And of course, the diner scene, it's my favorite. Tell us more about it.
Do you know, that diner scene, it was extraordinary because in that scene, Jessica Chastain's character Amy is wired. She's microphoned and tapped. And of course, in real life, she was wired. So we have all that recording. And a lot of that scene was taken verbatim, you know, by our screenwriter, Christy Wilson-Cairns. So it was extraordinary to know the truth and know how embedded in truth that scene was. But also, it was just stunningly written by Christy. The fact that when you get to work opposite someone like Jessica Chastain, who I think is one of the living greats, and getting to spar and challenge each other in such an intimate environment in which two characters are trying to see behind the mask of each other, that's the sort of stuff that actors' dreams are made of.
Hey there, lovebirds. I cannot get over how cute your Vanessa is.
Who's Vanessa?
Oh my God. There's insulin in her system.
So this is a true story, a real serial killer. How did you get into character?
So this story is based on a book called The Good Nurse, and our script is the last third of that book. The other 2/3 are quite an intricate and intimate biography of Charles Cullen's life, the guy I played. And it's a non-fiction book, so it's psychological reports, it's opinions of friends, of colleagues, and so that was a Bible for me, really. But then it was about, I worked with an amazing dialect coach, a man called Michael Buster, and we worked using recordings of Charlie to get the timbre of his voice right. And then this unique physicality he has, he was described as looking like a question mark. Yeah. And on the theory of everything, I worked with this woman called Alexandra Reynolds, who's a dancer, and she and I worked a bit on finding that. So you sort of start with all the technical stuff, but I have to do that like months in advance in order that by the time you're playing opposite Jessica, all of that is gone or hopefully embedded in you somewhere, and you just play opposite her.
After watching this film, absolutely, it makes me not want to go to the hospital. It makes me so scared, especially seeing the nurses. But let's talk about the nurse training that you have to do prior to shooting this film.
Well, let me be absolutely clear. The making of this film made me have such an overwhelming respect for nurses. It's, as you say, like Jessica and I were sent to nurse school for a couple of weeks, and it just exacerbated my respect for nurses. To be a good nurse, you have to be intellectually strong, science and maths. You have to be physically strong, like the actual moving of bodies was something that I'd underestimated. You also have to be incredibly empathetic and emotionally capable to be this conduit between doctors and families at their most vulnerable. So and you're normally hugely underpaid. And so particularly coming out the end of the pandemic, it made my respect for nurses just, you know, it was through the roof, honestly.
He's been at 9 hospitals. 9.
What do you mean? No, the hospital would have done something.
You would think so.
Yeah. Do you remember working with someone named Charlie Cullen?
Yeah. There was a rumor about him. They found insulin in a dead guy's saline bag.
How does it make you feel when you search your name or the movie name on Google and you see a lot of critiques are really predicting that you will have a very big chance in the award season? How do you feel about this recognition?
Well, I try not to sort of look up my name generally because that's a horrendous thing to do and normally involves quite a lot of trauma.
I did it on your behalf.
There's an alchemy in filmmaking that, like, when you read a script, you can have an instinct, but it goes through this extraordinary machine of creatives, of lots of people's opinions and different visions. And it's all, I always think it's magic when a movie comes together successfully. In a way in which when I see the film, I'm like, wow, I feel proud to be a part of it. And I feel, because it often happens that doesn't happen, you know. So when there is buzz around a movie, or when and we were so lucky with this film that through Netflix, so many people saw it. When it connects to an audience, it's a wonderful feeling, honestly, and particularly one that I feel is kind of what I found interesting about The Good Nurse is it didn't fit into any boxes. It was, on the one hand, it's a hero story of Amy Lochran. On the other hand, you're seeing perhaps the most prolific serial killer in history, but also he's not necessarily the only villain. You also have a story about a system that's broken, and at the heart of it, a relationship story. And I loved that it didn't fit too neatly into any genre box. The fact that people have responded to it is a wonderful thing.
Eddie, you absolutely nailed it, and thank you so much for taking the time to answering my questions. Thank you so much, guys.
Bye-bye.